And you think you're a bit worried about coming on a podcast. Even a seasoned podcast host can get a bit nervous, Fran. Thank you for joining me. Tell me about how you're preparing for KAIROS 2. But I guess we should probably mention, before I dive into all of this, that sometimes it's quite difficult to find the bravery, decide to do the hard thing, and come and talk on a podcast. So I just want to thank you for bearing with me and just being so open and kind-hearted and being here. So Francesca, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so
um,
let's. Oh yeah, carry on.
no, I'm not.
Okay, this is two professionals in different sectors. I'm not a professional athlete, but you are, Francesca. So tell me how you are preparing for KAIROS 2 upcoming.
So, actually, so I've been like doing, but this is even before knowing that I was about taking part at KAIROS. Like I've been doing a lot like positional sparring to go over some positions that, yeah, I feel like I'm not that confident if I end up being there at comp. And and actually in 2 weeks I'm gonna also travel to train in Australia with yeah with some people there. So yeah, that's how I'm gonna be preparing, and I hope yeah it's gonna be good. Yeah.
It sounds like you're going to Australia to train for KAIROS 2. That
It
has
was
to
a
be.
coincidence.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, like I was planning like to go there over because I have a break from work, so I can take like a few days of work in that period, and yeah, and then I found out I was like about taking part Kairos and everything. Like yeah, perfect coincidence, perfect timing. So yeah, I'm going there to prepare for Kairos now. Yeah.
I love that. It sounds like you're going to great extents. And of course, it was all for KAIROS 2.
Yeah, it was meant to be like that.
Okay, so tell me what
Yeah.
training camp looks like in Australia preparing for KAIROS 2.
I mean, at the moment, I still don't know, but they're gonna be like, yeah, the highest athlete there, the highest coach there. There's like a Giants there. There's Levi. There's Alanis there. Maybe other Fondarina as well. Be like, if I'm lucky to like meet her there as well, because I know she trains there quite often. So, and yeah, let's see how it's gonna be. How it's gonna be like. I've been doing like the same like drilling, the same yeah kind of training that I normally do here with Peter, my partner. So yeah, we drill a lot, and I was at the start I was not like a drilling person. I go into jiu-jitsu and I'm for sure on the instinct side of it. And but at some point I found out that just being on the instinct side of it was just too much overwhelming, was just too much emotion. It wasn't emotionally sustainable in the long run. And I was feeling very frustrated when I had questions that I couldn't answer or that I didn't have people that could answer my questions. So what I've been finding out since I moved gym, since I've been training with Peter and some of the coaches at London Grapple, and what I found out is that when you get to like speak and talk and give names to what you do in jiu-jitsu, is like it helps to bring your instinct to the next level and also to find a balance to like be not too nervous, be not too emotional, and it's just so entertaining. It's just so cool to go and train every day, regardless of like the results in comps. I would train even if I don't compete, and that's it. I think it's really cool to like just get to know something, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And yeah, so that's how I normally train, regardless to like competitions and big events.
I love that. And actually being able to name the moves, the concepts, the kind of
Yes,
positions that you're
yes,
doing. That's
it's fun.
you're so far away from a white belt. I always aspire to be maybe one day a pro jiu-jitsu. I can't believe I'm saying this, a pro jiu-jitsu athlete. I don't know, we'll see. But it's an incredible honor to be talking with you. Tell me a bit more about your kind of some of your other training strategies and how beneficial it is to be able to name some of the moves and just know what you're doing a bit more for those of us that aren't experienced like you?
So just like to give you an idea, when I started, I was in a very, let's say, old school, if you want to say like that, kind of gym. And but I was lucky enough to have two people there, the Kino and Florence. They call Kino and Florence. They're a couple. Now they have their own gym a bit out of London, and they were like my first window to like the technical side of jiu-jitsu. And um and so every time I was feeling like, oh wait, like this is a bit too much if it's just like about going hard, you know what I mean? Because it's like if it's a bit just too much, the emotional roller coaster is like, what am I doing here? Like, I mean, I don't want to be here to stress out something that I cannot address in my real life. I want to be here
Yeah,
because I want to challenge what jiu-jitsu is. What's the nature of jiu-jitsu? Jiu-jitsu is like a martial art that was born to um, keep small people safe from where they were attacked from bigger people, right? So
yeah,
I was really curious to test this. I was like, let's see if it works. I've never been like heavier than 60 kg. Now I'm 54 kg, and I've been there for the past 3 years, maybe 2 years. And so that's what I've been always curious to test. Like, let's see if this really works. And that really helped me to be entertaining in training, and to be motivated in training. And so it wasn't about me, I mean, it was about jiu-jitsu. Let's see what this is about. And Kino and Florence, they helped me. So they were like, Florence, for example, she was like, oh, you know that you're doing this. This has a name. You're doing this. This is called like this. And it was like, oh, and I was like, and once she gave me the tools, like I was feeling empowered, you know what I mean? Because it's like,
mm,
okay, I know what I'm doing. I can replicate that because I can see it, and I also can share it with other people. So that's the cool part of jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? And and then I got so I competed as a white belt. Was like the most fun part of like competition to me, I think. And but it's not because it was because I was just reckless, you know. I mean, I went to the first comp and I didn't even know that if you win the first match, you might have another one. So I won my first match. It's like, okay, now you need to do this again. Do you know that? It's like, oh my God, like, yeah. So, but even there, I was feeling like that wasn't emotionally sustainable if I was keeping training as I was at the time. I was
yeah,
like, okay, I can do this once, but maybe like not that much, you know what I mean? Like, and I was doing well, do you know what I mean? So, but anyway, so the thing is that I got my blue belt after like a comp where I did like quite well. And then after I got my blue belt, I did a comp that I was meant to take part as a white belt, but because I got my blue belt, so I signed up. I had to change my belt, so I competed in that comp as a blue belt. And then I was lucky enough to face in my first match Melissa Hill, and she would like she would change back after a week after that comp. And there it was like I was so lucky because there I could experience like the evolution of jiu-jitsu, you know. I mean, that's
yeah,
and there like facing her, I was feeling like physically stronger than her, but she was like one step ahead technically, and that fascinated me so much that I was like, this is the jiu-jitsu I wanna like pursue, you know. I mean, I know this is the jiu-jitsu that I want to pursue, the jiu-jitsu like people talk to me about in the gym I was before. There's just one side of it, you know. That's not the
yeah,
real narrative of it. And so it was like, yeah, I was like so motivated. I was like so excited, you know. And that in that moment, I was like looking for answers, you know, I mean, looking for technical answers because I could feel that like there was a pattern that you could break and not repeat the same mistakes over and over again until you maybe find out yourself. Do you know what I mean? So having people that can help you and like take like yeah, just like make the path more entertaining and easier, and yeah, it just why not? Do you know what I mean? And put all of the pieces together. So yeah, after the pandemic, like yeah, COVID happened, so I
yeah,
didn't get to compete as much as I wished as a blue belt. And then I was like, yeah, and then for some kind of events, I met Ross Nichols during the pandemic, and yeah, and rolling with it was like wow, this is the jiu-jitsu, like, so I didn't know who he was, you know, I'm like, don't get, like, I rode with him and I thought he was like, and because he was no gi as well, I didn't know his belt, I didn't know anything about, I didn't know him at all. So I just rode with this like nerdy looking guy, is like, and then when I rode with this, like, wow, this is cool, like, you know, there's movement, there's like, so someone can roll with me without trying to like overtake me by strength. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we can move together without like hurt each other and without having like bad vibes about it. And that was like for me, it was like, yeah, that's completely like made a big change in my life. Yeah, in my like life, not jujitsu wise, but in, yeah, because then I have to, yeah, I just moved to a house close to my old gym, and then I met Ross, and it's like, okay, but I wanna like, and then I found out he was opening the gym, and when I found out that, I was like, okay, I'm going there.
Amazing.
By going there meant like, yeah, changing my whole life. And yeah, but you know, I didn't think about it twice. That's what I wanted to do, and that was a really, really like important like step for my
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu. And there I met so many like good people, and
Yeah.
some of them they're the coaches of London Grapple now,
Yeah.
and that was really cool because there I found out I find like I met people that I could talk about and that I could talk jiu-jitsu with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were studying jiu-jitsu, they were like really into jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? Going to train was about jiu-jitsu, it wasn't about other like stuff, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was for me, that was paradise. Yeah, I was so happy, and yeah, that was really, it was really cool. Good moment of my life, yeah.
I think it's really important that you mention that jiu-jitsu still works against bigger, stronger people, and the benefit of training with higher ranking individuals, whether you know they're higher ranking or not, is another story. But
Yeah.
the techniques as you go through the ranks. I mean, I'm only a blue belt, but noticing that actually they're smoother, they're less. Well, I don't know, they're not maybe trying to kill you as much because obviously submitting is the aim of the game, but learning from that expertise. But equally, the younger and the next generation coming through have individuals like yourself to aspire to be like, and just really following your game to see how you progress, to kind of pick up ideas to build their own games, and equally, me building my own game, I mean, which is still very much the base building blocks. But it sounds like you've competed for the whole of your jiu-jitsu career. Talk to me about some of the bigger competitions that you've been on, Francesca.
So my biggest one was G-Wars as a purple belt after the pandemic, basically. And yeah, that was an amazing experience. I lost my first match for 2 points because I made like a dumb decision. So basically, I was inverting and I gave 2 points, and then after that, I didn't have time to get my 2 points back. So and against the girl that now she's a black belt and she's like on the scene, and so it was really cool to like test and like myself against like the highest athletes, you know, and because before this I didn't like I wasn't doing anything martial arts related. I didn't even know that jiu-jitsu existed before I moved to London, and so and now I'm doing this, you know, I mean, out of the blue, you could say, and this is really cool. That's what I think is really cool about jiu-jitsu. That it's like designed within us, do you know what I mean? Because all of the
Yeah,
movements are actually like part of the nature. It's just that because of our lifestyle, we just forget to move ourselves, to move our
yeah,
body like that. You know what I mean? But if you notice like babies and stuff, the way kids and young kids move, that's very like jiu-jitsu related, you know, and relatable. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's I think is really cool.
yeah. When I've
So
spoken
yeah,
with
that was the
other
first one.
when I've spoken with other females, we've spoken about the fear that we have as adults, maybe from our teens and twenties and a bit beyond, that young children don't have it, and the break falls, the all of the movements. The example of, two hands ahead and literally going for a double leg. There's no fear. And if we can bring some of that kind of non-fear back into our own games, it sounds like we're on a
Yeah,
winner.
that's a good point. That's the point. You really said it right. Yeah, that's the thing, and
Mm.
that's why like I got really into jiu-jitsu because you remind me of all of the like scraps and playtime with my brothers. I have three brothers. We now have another one as well, but yeah, at the time just had three brothers, and yeah, we were just scrapping all the time, and also like my mom was like taking me to the park, and I was just like running, scrapping at the park, like going up and down. Do you know what I mean? And then I went into jiu-jitsu classes, like, wow, this is cool. Like we can roll, like as I was rolling up the park. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
this is playful. This can be playful, but also like very like deadly at the same time. So this is cool. You know what I mean? It's really like the technique side of jiu-jitsu is really fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
love the fact that you've owned up and been honest that you scrap with your brothers, or used to. Some of us might not, but we might have actually scrapped with our brothers. Win or lose, I don't know. Anyway, it's really great to be able to, it's really great to be able to chat with you today for the Kairos Pro Jiu Jitsu podcast, Fran. And the Kairos 2 event on the 27th of April, hosted at Escapology BJJ and sponsored by 866 Jiu Jitsu Wellness Camp, based in Whaley Bridge in Derbyshire. Go and check out their latest events and get yourself booked on Frontier Risks Group, disruptors to the security and risk management space. And if you're a professional already operating in the security, risk management, safety, or consultancy space, you can choose a range of courses designed to enhance your knowledge, skill set, and network. Two Chefs Cambridge, Ant and Deck, founders of Two Chefs. They're not really called Ant and Deck, by the way. Meal prep delivering nationwide. Go and order the Two Chefs take on a classic Chinese chicken and black bean sauce. And of course, Jiu Jitsu Magazine, your home for BJJ and Jiu Jitsu news, including the latest in MMA, events results, interviews, and features. And me, Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast host, Lou Temlett, your host of this show, aiming to get more people listening and watching to great jiu-jitsu podcasts. Go and check us out. Links are in the show notes. So, Francesca, you kind of highlighted an approach that might be more holistic in terms of your jiu-jitsu training. Talk to me about that.
so uh, what I mean about it is that because like talking with people and like yeah, especially now, not just like these two sections is like the no-gi people, the gi people, and it's like I really don't see the point, you know what I mean? It's like of course if you focus on what you're wearing, it makes a difference, a big difference. It's like, oh, this is a completely different game, but it's actually not, you know what I mean? And I think that training gi, especially, I started just training in the gi, and I think that if you know how to like if you develop your skills in the gi, then um translated that into no gi is like it's it's good, it makes your no gi game even better. uh
Yeah,
People think, well, oh, it's a gi, so you need to like grab it all the time, but actually no, you don't need to grab it all the time. I know that it might feel like more like tense sometimes because you have people relying on grips and stuff. It's like, oh my God, this is a bit too much. But I don't see those two words so separate. And if you just focus on like the art of it, it just you see that everything is connected. You know, what I mean, you can be a
yeah,
bolo guy and he look people at the same time. My partner Peter did that at a comp last weekend. You know, what I mean, but in people's head, he's a bolo guy. So they were like, oh, surprised. It's like, oh my God, you just did a hey look. Yeah, it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like, and the thing is that how you train is like, do you train to just feel good and like not develop new skills, or do you
yeah,
train to like develop new skills and then when you go and compete, you show that your game can be like holistic, you can be like, yeah, you can just like practice everything, you know what I mean? Unless you
yeah.
you you just put yourself in boxes that yeah, they're not
Yeah.
really worth it. You know what I mean?
The more and more I'm chatting with pro jiu-jitsu athletes, which is an honor, um, the more I'm learning that actually you're just building up a repertoire of skills, submissions, and so that you can choose at whatever kind of game or event, that you're not known for one thing. Actually, you've got a very broad and, as we've discussed, holistic approach to training jiu-jitsu. And I like the fact that you're kind of bringing an element of fun to that. Maybe you're still imagining scrapping with your brothers, Francesca.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah, 100%. That's why, like, for me, it was a never like a big deal to like train with guys because for me it was not normality. You know, that's yeah, it's
Yeah,
okay to like be like close to guys, but yeah, yeah. Now it's just hard to like get people to train the gi, to be honest. And yeah,
yeah,
and also, you know, like just have that like most of the events, most of media, they just push more like the no gi side of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's just hard, but yeah.
Okay. Talk to me about how important events like Kairos for females under 55 and with a prize pot are for the sport in general.
But yeah, that can be like I wouldn't say life changing, but like almost, you know, I mean, just like to be exposed to like the outside world. Like for example, someone like me, like I train like a pro athlete, but I actually have a job. I teach swimming, and yeah, I haven't started this like at a young age, and so this means that I didn't have like time, and sometimes I have time to go and travel to compete as much as I wanted, especially because in like local comps, especially as a brown belt, especially as a small brown belt, sometimes you have people in your weight division, so you might just end up going like the biggest comp and like not having like practice before, like in the smaller
Yeah,
comps. So having like an event that set up a cool environment for you to just like put yourself out there and
yeah,
see her like and grow, do you know what I mean? Because yeah, experience like competitions if you wanna do this like as part of your life, it just makes you better, it just makes you exposed to like the good side of it, do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah,
I think that's one of the other things I'm learning as well is putting yourself in hard situations, difficult
yeah,
situations, and actually the ability for all of us to grow out of the back of, you know, doing hard stuff. But
yeah.
how do you prepare for this hard stuff, or are you, are you just mindset and everything prepared at any point to do a pro jiu-jitsu competition?
So actually, yeah, now recently I've been like I've been focusing a bit more on the mental aspect of it because like the hardest part of competing is not knowing yourself in those situations, in that situation, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But once you get to know yourself in that situation, you're gonna express yourself.
yeah,
But if you first need to like deal with yourself and then maybe express yourself when someone is trying to like kill you, it's like it's a bit hard. Do you know what I mean? So uh, what with my like limited experience in competing, what I find out is that yeah, I will like freeze sometimes and not do anything. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy. And just a few times I got to that alphabet as well, especially like. I did well. Like yeah, I did decent. Last weekend I did decent as well in comps, but still, like I feel like the emotional, the mental side of it is the biggest uh,
yeah,
part of competing. For me, you know, training hard for me has never been like a big deal. I love to train. I love to feel like tired. I love the tough physical training,
yeah.
but yeah, I really need to work about the mental, emotional aspect of it
Mm,
because you know in Polaris as well when I was like doing well when I was in a dominant position and inside I was like I wasn't believing it. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God,
yeah,
I'm here, like I'm doing it, but I was feeling stressed because I wasn't confident in being in a dominant position. Do you know what I mean? And this is
yeah,
crazy because you gotta like yeah, you're just not gonna like impose your will in that moment
yeah.
and that can cost you the match. you know, even if you're like in a good position. So that's yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy, but that's really fascinating about competitions, you
Mm,
know. I mean,
yeah. I
yeah,
think you're kind of right in mentioning mindset. It's a really big part
yeah.
of competing, and maybe for some of us just training jiu-jitsu, but pushing ourselves to the limit of our mindset, to the limit of our physical abilities. Sounds like it's
Yeah,
you
more
know
to the limit, I would say. Yeah, sorry for interrupt you. It's like it's more
no,
like getting to know your human side, you know, what I mean, and
yeah,
still like face your humanity and say, oh, but I can still like succeed even if I'm very limited because I'm a human, you know what I mean? But you can still do well just because you're a human being, and that's pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah. And what are you going to do with this £2,000 prize pot?
Let's see if I win them first. But yeah, probably travel to train. Yeah, somewhere good or to compete. And yeah, for sure, 100%.
Amazing. And on a scale of 1 to 100, how excited are you about Kairos 2?
Oh, I'm like, yeah, over 100. Like, I'm really, really excited, very nervous, and feeling a bit small as well. But yeah, it's a good opportunity, yeah, for me. And yeah, I'm very grateful that, yeah, it's been offered to me. And yeah, very, very excited. It's gonna be tough.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to be tagging you and collaborating. How can people follow your journey, Francesca?
Oh, like on Instagram, yeah, I have my Instagram, and yeah, it's called Fran Lana Kika, so you can find it quite easily, I guess. And yeah, I might open a Patreon with my partner Peter soon, just to like share our approach of Jiu-Jitsu. But yeah, this in the long run. But yeah, for now, just Instagram, I guess. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I wish you all the luck. And of course, all the amazing luck at your training camp, specifically in
Thank
Australia,
you.
before you come back.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I've never known anyone to travel that far for a training camp for an event. But who do I know? What do I know, even? So, one of the things that would really help this show grow is by you subscribing on whichever platform you're on: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music as soon as this episode ends. Once again, thank you very much for listening and catch you on the next episode of the Kairos Pro Jiu Jitsu podcast. We've got to find the end recording now. There. The